What is up, guys, and welcome back to episode number 75 now of the Leeds United Career Mode. Last episode, we managed to pick up that all-important victory against Atletico Madrid, meaning we went through as group leaders in the Champions League. But unfortunately, you won't be seeing the knockout phases of the Champions League for the next good few episodes because it is actually quite a way in the distance now, this one. So we've got 3 more Premier League games for you as we look to continue our good run of form. We are yet to lose in the Premier League, and we actually take on the side that knocked us or, stopped our unbeaten run last season in the form of Newcastle. We travel over to St James's Park in the later stages of today's episode to take them on, and hopefully we won't suffer defeat much like we did the time they stopped our unbeaten run. You can see here the first game of the episode we have at West Ham at the London Stadium. West Ham not doing very well here in real life, but in the game they're doing all right for themselves, and this is a very, very beautiful stadium to come to, I have to say. But in real life terms, West Ham, moving to the new stadium, haven't really done anything special here, have they yet? They're 1 point above the relegation zone, and it's not looking too good for Slaven Bilic's men. However, in the game, it's going to be a very, very tough test for us to go here because it's a very, intimidating atmosphere. And on top of that as well, West Ham have a semi-decent team. You can see they're sat 11th. So it's not too bad in terms of what they are currently doing in real life. And we are obviously sat first, yet to be beaten in this Premier League season. We're miles above everybody else in the English Premier League. And that's credit to this side. This side is absolutely incredible. We've just built such a solid unit here. And it seems as though this side is just one of those teams that just, everybody fears it. And whenever we come up against teams, they seem to sit back and give me way too much respect. And then it, comes back to haunt them. But West Ham may be different here because I do like the way I did like the way West Ham used to play, but in terms of that one, they're not doing too brilliant in real life, so I don't particularly like the way they're playing now. But it's a very, very good team that West Ham have. Obviously, Dimitri Payet in there is a very dangerous player, and we have to make sure we keep a close watch on him. That is our team, though, going into this one here against West Ham. Still a very strong team. Ross Barkley, Anthony Martial, and Anwar El Ghazi, the front, or I guess you could say the front three. A very, very dangerous trio, and it's going to be an interesting one. This one is Robert Madley was the referee for the game, and we did look at getting the game underway in it. The first chance actually fell the way of West Ham, I do believe, inside 16 minutes, and it came to Fernandez in the centre of the pitch. He turns the man brilliantly. Emre Can just gets absolutely mugged off by him. Comes into Andy Carroll, Big Andy, gives it off to Andre Ayew, and Ayew absolutely rifles this one home to make it West Ham 1, Leeds United 0 in the opening few minutes of the game. And I actually had the Chinese goalkeeper Liu in goal for us today, in ahead of Leno, just to see what he'd do in the Premier League. Bit unfortunate there, and on top of that, to add more insult to injury, Anwar El Ghazi picked up an injury himself. So it was very, very frustrating because it means that our top scorer in the Premier League is now out possibly for a few games. But 36 minutes in, I thought Anthony Martial was going to get us back on level terms there, but a good save in the end from Randolph. And Randolph had such a good game in this one and was determined to keep the score at 1-0 and try and pick up West Ham a victory in the game that was needed for themselves as well. They've only won 3 games all season long, rather, so it's not too good for them so far. But 57 minutes in, we were creating chance after chance, and it was, you could just sort of see that at one point one of these was definitely going to go in the back of the net. It was just a matter of time before we did find a goal. But would we have enough time in the game to find it was the question. Emre Moore going down the right hand side now, gets into a position to take the strike on, and this time it was well blocked by the West Ham sliding defender. A very good block indeed. We get a corner out of it. We're going to whip this corner in, I do believe, after we take it short into the path of Januzaj. Januzaj ends up running into the box, gets past a couple of players, takes the strike on eventually, and a very, very good stop from Randolph yet again. Determined to keep the score 1-0, like I said. But we finally found the breakthrough in the 72nd minute. It fell into the box here to Suso. Suso gets past a man, and he gave me way too much time and space to the defender there as I fire that one into the bottom corner to make it West Ham 1, Leeds United 1. And inside the 74th minute of this game, we finally got back on level terms. It was a very good performance from Randolph in the West Ham United goal, but he couldn't quite keep us out for the full 90 minutes. And it was very, very interesting to see that Suso actually was the one who got the goal. But I have to credit Adnan Januzaj there because he jumped over the ball just enough to let it through, and that's what probably clouded Randolph's vision there and made him not make the stop. But had Januzaj blocked that, I would have been so mad with Januzaj, you wouldn't have even understood. But in the end, West Ham actually gave us another chance in this one. A very poor goal kick from Randolph, who actually had an extremely good performance, like I said. Came to Martial. Martial into the path of Ross Barkley, and I spoke about him at the start of the game, saying how dangerous this trio was. Obviously, Anwar's unfortunately left the pitch, but we've just got as good a striker in Emre Moore to come on. And it was the front three who actually ended up scoring this goal for ourselves. It came to Moore, Moore into Martial, Martial into Ross Barkley, and Barkley finishes that one off to make it Leeds United 2, West Ham United 1, and a absolutely brilliant comeback here. We've done that so many times this season when we've gone a goal down. It's more or less just teams catching me by surprise. I'm not expecting to go a goal down, but when I do, he really sets off something in me, and I just make sure that I end up don't concede any more than I already have done. And we actually didn't edit this out because Ross Barkley again here For 83 minutes in, returns the favour to Anthony Martial, just as Martial did for Ross Barkley's goal there, and it's a simple finish for our number 7. You cannot give Anthony Martial that time of sort of time in the box. He's got so much quality that you can guarantee that ball's going to end up in the back of the net 9 times out of 10, and it did there. And Randolph really couldn't do anything about that. He made a number of good saves in this game to keep West Ham in the lead, but ultimately it wasn't quite enough from the Irish goalkeeper, and in the end we came back and managed to pick up hopefully a 3-1 victory in this one. But it wasn't completely done, as West Ham did stage somewhat of a fight back to try and get themselves back on back in the game, right, really. And Lanzini down the left-hand side cuts inside of the challenge absolutely brilliantly. Gives it off to Payet, and I'm thinking, no way. But he ends up hitting his strike very, very weakly into the arms of Lou in goal for us. And I have to say, a poor effort in the end from West Ham's danger man there. And it should really have been 3-2, but it wasn't. We picked up a 3-1 victory here. 3 points on the board yet again for ourselves as well, after a very, very good comeback against a very tough team. I mentioned to you guys, it's not an easy place to come here, the London Stadium in FIFA. It is sort of in real life. You can see that, though. We had 10 shots, 10 of them on target. So we were absolutely brilliant in front of goal today in terms of hitting the target, between the stakes, because numerous times in this career mode we've gone through stages where we haven't hit the target, and then we go for other stages where we do absolutely brilliantly in terms of front of goal. But today was absolutely, wonderful to see that all our shots went in between the sticks, and had we have not met a very informed Randolph, it could have been an absolute, killing there. But we took on Leicester for the second game of the episode, making a few changes to the side before this one, as you can see, due to fitness reasons. Ericsson's come back in the side for Barkley. Anwar El Ghazi, unfortunately, is obviously out, so he won't be featuring in this one. Joel Green is out as well. He missed 7 weeks out with a dislocated shoulder. I showed you at the beginning of this episode. So, unfortunately, 2 injuries to 2 very good players there, including Anwar El Ghazi, which means he may just lose the golden boot, or he may lose, the top spot in terms of goals this season. But someone who's creeping up in the list is actually Anthony Martial. He's got himself into, I do believe, 3rd place in the league in terms of goals scored this season so far. Or he might actually be a bit lower than 3rd. I don't actually know how many goals he's on. I think he's on about 8 goals or something, and I don't believe that Anwar has much more than him. So, he's definitely up there, put it that way. So, even though we've lost a goal scorer in Anwar El Ghazi, and we're unfortunately not going to be able to score any more goals with him and increase his lead at the top of the goal scorers Premier League list, we have obviously got Martial, who's increasing every single game. You can see here, Chelsea off to an extremely poor start. But having said that, so are Manchester City and Arsenal. Arsenal sit 1 place above the relegation zone, and Manchester City sit 2. If they were to go down in this career mode, the scenes would be absolutely mental. You can see this is our team coming here into this game against Leicester. Leicester have obviously a very good team. They obviously won the league in real life last year. They've struggled to do anything in this season now. However, in the game, they've always been up there in the last few seasons. They've done extremely well for themselves. Slimani and I think Vardy on Musa and Vardy on the bench, I do believe, in the end for this one for Leicester. But Musa's a type of player, like I said before, who seems to cause me a lot of issues. And that he wasn't playing, I was very, very happy with that. Excuse me. But we came into this one high confidence after that comeback against West Ham, and it actually showed here 2 minutes in. Divock Origi into the path of, I do believe, Emre Can. Emre Can into Hadi Sakho, who actually started the game for us today. Gives it off to Martial. His initial shot's blocked, but a very, very quick rebound into the path of Martial again, and he makes no mistake with a second effort on the weaker left foot. I can call it the weaker left foot, but he does have a 4-star weak foot, so it's still a very, very good left foot indeed. And he made it 1-0 there. Very poor defensively from Leicester in the end. They gave me 2 bites at the cherry, and I took it on the second attempt. Very good finish from our number 7, just increasing his goals as he has been doing all series long so far. Had he have not been injured, he may be miles out in front in the top scorers list. However, he's got to claw it back and try and get himself back to that number 1 spot, where he's currently picked up by Anwar, but it's at the moment going to be vacated if he doesn't come back from injury and score a few goals. But 21 minutes into it, Anthony Martial got his second of the game. A lovely turn into the box, and I have to say it was a lot of luck. I didn't actually realise I'd get through there. In the end I did, and it's a simple low-driven shot across the goalkeeper, and 22 minutes into the game, we were leading by 2-0, both of which came at the hands of Anthony Martial. Keep forgetting, I'm just so used to saying Anwar El Ghazi because he normally is the goal scorer, but it was actually Martial. And a very, very good goal indeed from our number 7. So he's been an absolute brilliant player since he's come over from Manchester United. We got him on a free transfer as well. 88 overall, Martial coming in here and doing the business for us. You can see Remy on the bench as well. Bit unfortunate this season that Remy hasn't been able to feature for us, because he has been extremely good in the past, but he just won't get in the team when you've got Anwar, you've got Origi, you've got Martial, you've got Emre Moore. He's actually 5th choice in terms of the strikers in the list at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate for Remy, because he is still a good servant for the club. But Leicester would stage a fight back here. It came at the hands of Danny Simpson. Lovely ball to the back post. Danny Ings there, and it fell into the path of Riyad Mahrez, and Leno should not be getting beaten at his near post by this. This is an absolute joke from a very, very experienced goalkeeper, one of which I would say is probably the better out of the two goalkeepers we have here at Leeds. However, Lou hasn't put a foot wrong since coming into the side. However, Leno has. I mean, look at this. To be beaten at your near post by that is not good for a player or a goalkeeper of Leno's quality. Yes, the strike's well hit by Riyad Mahrez, but you know, Leno should be saving that every day of the week. And the fact that he didn't, I was a bit disappointed in the German goalkeeper. And it actually was all Leicester for the last 20 minutes of this one, as it came to Jeff Schlupp here. And I didn't make a tackle. I allowed him to go on, and he took the strike on. And I was so happy to see that one go wide of the post, because that could have easily gone in the back of the net. But thankfully, he didn't. We picked up a 2-1 victory in this one. Another 3 points on the board for ourselves, getting it into a good position in terms of league right now. So far ahead in terms of points as well. We haven't lost a game in the league as of yet. It's probably not going to stay that way, though, as we are looking to be moving on in the Champions League, which means I will be sort of sacrificing league points. I wanted to build up a big lead here, so that way, even if we were having a bit of a slump in form, we could then sort of carry it over and name our best team in Champions League, and meaning that we would have our weaker team for the Premier League games. And even so, our weaker team is still very good. You can see by the match facts, though, it was very, very even, and we just about edged it a 2-1 victory. So a very good result there against a very tough Leicester City side, in which they could have easily got themselves back to 2-2. Bit disappointed, as I said, to concede a goal that I did there with Leno in goal, having conceded it as near post by a Riyad Mahrez effort that wasn't, in my opinion, you know, that it was well hit, but it wasn't in the corner, and in my opinion, Leno should have saved that. So maybe I have to start naming our Chinese goalkeeper, who is almost an 84 rated goalkeeper, which is absolutely mental. To have a backup goalkeeper at 84 rated is just damn crazy. I mean, you know, he would be starting if he was anywhere else, but, you know, at Leeds we've got an 88 rated in Leno. Lou actually does come back in the side today for this game against Newcastle, of which we are going to go into it. They were obviously the team to stop our unbeaten run last season by beating us 1-0. So can they do the same here? Can they break my heart yet again and stop our unbeaten run that we've had to this season by beating us? Or will we go on to beat the the side from St James's Park? But I was into this game and I was thinking to myself, as long as I, come into this and don't have a poor start like I did in the last one, because pretty much it was all Newcastle from the minute one when they actually beat us 1-0 last season. So I was looking at this and thinking, I have to have a good start here, because if I don't have a good start, it's going to be a very, very tough game going into this. And the fact that I actually took out Leno and put in the Chinese goalkeeper in the form of Lou, it put us a message out there. It sent a really big message to show other teams that I actually have two quality goalkeepers at the helm. But not only that, it was to show Leno that the fact that even though he is a high-quality goalkeeper and possibly one of the best in the world, I'm not afraid to drop him if he's not playing well. So I decided to drop him there. We brought in our Chinese goalkeeper. He sits on the bench today. There's Leno for this upcoming Premier League game and has to watch from the sidelines. And he basically just sent him a message saying, I'm not afraid to drop you. And you're not invincible here at Leeds. If you make mistakes, at the end of the day, you will be dropped. And that is what happened here. So you can see that was the team we actually did name. Hadi Sakho retains his place in the side for ourselves here. I'm going to start using Sakho a bit more. He's a bit unfortunate he has lost his place. He's been a good servant for us, and I actually do like Hadi Sakho in real life. However, it was Newcastle actually started the brighter of the two teams, and Sabitzer gets through, forces a save out of our Chinese goalkeeper, but we pick up a red card inside the first 3 minutes of the game. Hernandez came into the team, having not played much football so far this season. Obviously, he's like our fourth choice centre-back here. Comes into the team and gets sent off, so I was a bit gutted with that one, and it means that Newcastle now have to fight their way against 10 men Leeds. But it could always be a more difficult task playing against 10 men, because 10 men is not easy to play against. I've noticed it in career mode before. And we were put under immense pressure here for the first few minutes of this game. It comes to Lazar. He takes a strike on, a great block again, gives Newcastle yet another corner. And all I really needed to do was grab a goal. And at that point, I would have gone all out defensive and just tried to make sure that I didn't concede. Newcastle put us under a lot of pressure, but Lou comes out, commands the area brilliantly, gets hold of the ball. And I was trying to think about what to do here, but in the end, I throw it short. Goes out to Miguel on the right-hand side. Miguel gives it inside to Hadi Sakho. Sakho's got a lot of pace, obviously, and we use it pace here as it gives it into Emre Moore. More back to Sakho. There's no one in the box to aim for yet, though, as Ross Barkley makes the run. Sakho carries the ball forward, puts it into an area and says, Ross, get your head on that. And Ross got his head on it perfectly there, and we've managed to get the opening goal of the game. So being put under pressure by Newcastle from minute one, we actually took the lead in this one with our first chance on goal. It came at the head of Ross Barkley. Hadi Sakho with the assist in the end. A very, very good run from him. But at this point here, I did actually make a change. I thought about changing it as soon as I got the red card, but then I thought if I catch him on the break and a counter-attack and score, that'll be good, and that's exactly what happened. So as soon as I went 1-0 up here, you can see me, I changed the team, and I was like, I'm going to change the dynamic now. And I actually took off Divock Origi rather than Emre Moore. At first, I was looking to take off Emre Moore, but in the end, I chose Divock Origi instead. I brought on, I do believe, Martin Zindi for Origi there as the red card came in. Moved Moore into a more central role, so we are actually playing a 4-1-2-1-1 basically at this point now. as it obviously went down to 10 men. That's the only thing I could do. So I decided to play that team and just see what we did. I think I switched up to defensive as well at this point just to see if we could in fact hold on to this lead. However, we actually had the second chance in this one as Newcastle, a poor throw-in, gave back possession of the ball to me, and Ross Barkley gives it inside to Emre Moore. Moore goes one more into Suso. Suso, a lovely run past the defender and a great low-driven shot through the legs of the defender, beats the goalkeeper, and it ends up being Leeds United 2, Newcastle 0 here at St James's Park. An absolutely wonderful start to this game. Yes, the red card did cause a bit of an issue for us, but I think the red card actually helped me here because it sort of made me think that I had to sort of be a bit more conservative. I couldn't, just bomb forward. I had to really pick my passes and pick my chances. And in the end, we picked up 2 good chances, and both of which have ended up in the back of the net. 2 very good goals as well. From Suso and Ross Barkley. The Ross Barkley first one and the Hani Sakho cross, very, very well set up. And then that one from Suso is just a lovely finish across the goalkeeper. And at this point, I'm thinking this should be a 3-point victory at this point. 2-0 up in the game. If I throw this away, even with 10 men, I'll be a bit disappointed in myself. But Newcastle had their chances as 37 minutes in. Dwight Gale tests the hands of Lou, but it's a very decent save from our goalkeeper. And at that point, that was all the game had in store. So a 2-0 victory in the end. Newcastle didn't really test me as much as I was expecting. They had a lot of the early part of the game, but weren't able to really do anything after that. So we pick up the victory there, and that is going to conclude the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have, smash that like button. As always, I have been Danny, and I'm out. Adios.